Hey y'all, Cogiflector here. You ever watch one of those DIY shows where they make some strange thing? You can't help but watch it all the way to the end and then you go, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that. Well, if you haven't, hey y'all, watch this. So I'm building vertical gardens. The soil here in the Memphis area, just muddy clay. And it's full of funguses and molds and stuff. Plus, there's a lot of vermin and other critters running around out here. This garden completely alleviates the drainage problem and moves the plants up a little ways, a little bit harder for the critters to get to. Enough so that if you can set a trap out on the ground, you can catch them. Some of them are good to eat too. Okay, so here's how I'm making the vertical garden posts. First, you grab a couple of hunks of stud, like me, because I'm a hunk and a stud. And these are 6 foot lengths. It was actually a 12-footer, and I just cut it in half. And then a couple of hunks, 2x2 furring, 3 foot long. And then I've got this pipe that's the same diameter as the ones I drove into the ground, although this one is, just conduit. But it doesn't matter because I'm just using this for a gauge of the size. And what I do next is I make a sandwich. See, I put it all together. The 2x2s are spacing it out because I've actually trimmed them down, ripped them just a little bit so that the thickness is the same diameter as that pipe that's sticking out of the middle. See? And that way, it's a good, firm, snug fit. These bits of scrap are just for spacing so that the holes in the strap line up just right. At that point, I'm ready to measure and put the screws in that hold the sandwich together. Then, once all the screws are in, just slide out the pole. And once you have 2 of these, I'll show you what you do. Right, so here's the post, and you can see if I come in close, it's kind of flared outward from when I was pounding it into the ground. So we take one of these things, I don't know, call it a rasp, call it a file, I don't care what it is, it does the job. We're going to file these down. Alright, so next we fit the round peg into the square hole. I know everyone else does the square peg in a round hole, but they all figured that out. I'm different, I'm Cogiflector, I do things my way. Round peg into the square hole. Be very careful at first so you don't pinch your fingers, and then sometimes you have to wiggle a little bit to get it down, but there you go. Do that on both ends. Right, so the next thing is to do the cross beam on the top. Now, what you do is you grab another hunk of stud, only this guy's a couple feet taller than this hunk of stud, but and it's an 8-footer. So, yeah, we just stick it, we're going to take it and we're going to stick it between these two and drill it into place. Now for the brackets, we take some of this scrap and cut it into foot length. I need 4 of them. Then we take our handy dandy corner braces and we put them on the ends. And just like that, we've got brackets. So now we got to mount the brackets like so on both sides. We're adding the fabric. You want your first piece to be a little bit longer than the width of the garden. Staple each end like so. Fold up one side and staple it. And then fold up the other side and staple it. So you have kind of a pocket thing going on here. Do the same thing at the other end. And now your bottom layer is done. What this does is prevent the soil from spilling out the bottom. It's not so important to keep it pretty, but you do want to keep the top of this somewhat tight from staple to staple so that it holds together better. So the top layer is going to be made to be about double the length of the bottom layer. See, I've got 2 layers here. I just rolled it out a little longer than the length. And rolled it back, and I'll cut it at that point. Okay, so you put the second layer inside of the first. Don't know if you can see that. See, it's inside of the first. This is the fold end. The cut ends are down at that side. You'll notice, hey, it's exactly the same height as this centerpiece. Well, that's because I cut these at 3 feet and these come in 3-foot widths. Kind of convenient, almost as if I planned that. What I typically do is I will staple this end first and then take up the slack at the other end. It seems to be easier for me, but you know, you do whichever way you want to do it. Right, so now we are getting somewhere. See, this yard fabric is going to hold the soil, but it's still going to kind of floppy, and you know, the mass is going to pull on the staples. Don't worry, we've already planned for that. A little bit of chicken wire kind of holds it all together. Don't worry if your chicken wire is a little bit short. It doesn't matter so much as long as it's in the middle and covers most of the way to the ends. Well, that's it. One garden halfway done. Many more to go. Although I say halfway, it's actually going to take several more videos to finish the series because the next few steps, although quicker, take longer to explain. Till next time.